Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us as the Global Seafood Alliance presents our webinar on Seafood Processing Standard Issue 6.0. Our speakers for today include Murali Bucci, Program Integrity Consultant, and myself, Noelle Wisniewski, Certification Specialist Team Lead. Some housekeeping items before we begin. All participants are automatically muted, and all registrants will get a recording of this presentation via email afterwards. We ask that you please type in your questions into the chat box throughout the presentation, as time will be allocated at the end for a live Q&A. We will have additional staff members join us for the Q&A so we can appropriately answer all questions. Lastly, we'd like to thank you for taking the time for joining us on this webinar. The agenda for the webinar is as follows. We will begin by going over the different modules for SPS 6.0, and then we will do a demonstration of our new platform, Prism. Following that, we will do an introduction to the audit duration calculator. We will then go over changes to the audit scope, upcoming changes for reprocessors, an update on star status links, an update on our GFSI benchmarking, and then the live Q&A. Now, I will pass it over to Murali.
Hi, everyone. SPS 6.0 has been revised from the current SPS 5.1 for various factors. One is to improve audit efficiency and support wild capture processing facilities, improve relevance to the facility under assessment. I'll let you know what that means based on the modular approach that the SPS 6.0 has been designed, and then include the compliance guidance for auditors and facilities. This is basically a guidance with better interpretation of each requirement and has been written in alignment with GFSI and SSCI benchmarks for ease of benchmarking. Benefits of the modular approach. I'll get to a minute what that modular approach is. For the facilities, the benefits are increased customization for each facility because the standard has been developed with the various modules and a core standard. Much simpler cross language, responsive to wild capture needs. The wild capture species, there's more emphasis on those species categories, and easy addition of SSCI benchmark product, which is an enhanced social module. And for certification bodies, the benefits are more flexibility for auditor competency and selection. This is again due to the modular approach, greater industry interest, and then this assists auditor availability, again due to the modular approach and the various modules that the standard has been designed with. So this is what is the modular approach. SPS 6.0 has been designed with the core, which is subject to all facilities, which opt for certification to SPS 6.0. And then the benchmark is under progress. And then with this approach, there is alignment with the GFSI as well as various modules. There are 9 modules which are applicable, but there are actually, if you look at it, there are 10. But the social, it's either or. So either the facility selects or opts for enhanced social, or they opt for the standard social. So that's the reason there are kind of 9 modules. And each of these modules are being designed with a specific purpose. For example, animal welfare looks at any processes which involve transportation of live animals into the processing facility and then slaughtering at the facility. And then the ready-to-eat, low-acid canned foods, effluent monitoring. And then there is a new one, which is remote environmental monitoring, which I'll get to in a minute. And then there is finished product testing, which has adopted a risk-based testing program. just explain that in the coming slides. And then product identity preservation, which is about use of claims, and then the outsourcing module. The core module, which is the standard with a lot of requirements, which will be subject to GFSI benchmarking, and then the facilities that will be audited to the core. I mean, all facilities will have to be audited to the core, and then there are modules which will be applicable only in case the facility has such operations, which I just explained, those 9 modules. And then during the application process, the facility will opt for those. And this, again, has been kind of made easy for the facilities based on an audit duration calculator, which will be sent to the facilities. And the audit duration is based on the selection of either of those modules. Coming to the finished product testing module, the objective here is the finished product testing is conducted so that there is no control over potential microbiological and chemical residue hazards. And the scope would be for all facilities that fall under elevated or high risk categories. And this is based on risk, and then that's explained in finished product testing module Annex 1, which is an operational guideline. And the finished product testing was applicable to all facilities under 5.1. But going forward, it will be risk-based. Only elevated and high-risk categories will have to test finished products. And the facilities, those that fall under low-risk category, will not require to be testing any finished product, either ongoing or during the audits. Outsourcing module, the objective here is for facilities to exercise proper control for any outsourced process. Could be prior to product being received at the facility or during the operations. They might send out some of the product and get it processed at another entity and then bring it back. So this module would verify all the pillars of SPS, which is food safety, environmental, social, and animal welfare. Scope would be for any facility that outsources processes, which could impact food safety, legality, quality, traceability, and social responsibility. All outsourcing activities are covered, which could include examples like pre-processing, slaughtering, filleting, packing, freezing, storing, and removing pin bones, for example. The next one is product identity preservation module. The objective here is to maintain chain of custody of product identity and the integrity of the product throughout the production process and supply chain. And scope would be currently for any farm product with multi-star claims that are either labeled or claimed or sold in any way as 2, 3, or 4-star product. And then the product identity preservation, which is in short known as PIP. The module will apply anytime a facility plans to claim multi-star status on the products that they produce. The next one is remote wild-caught environmental module. The objective here is to provide a pathway for assessing or verifying the discharge and associated impacts for those facilities remotely located, basically processing wild capture species categories, and which kind of lack sufficient regulatory guidance because of their remoteness. And the scope would be the effluent criteria for those facilities in remote coastal marine locations that process only wild-caught species. This is applicable only for wild-caught species. And there is a definition which GSA has come up with. The remote is defined as a processing facility located more than 30 minutes by land or sea away from a metropolitan area with a population of 10,000 or greater. The next one is social responsibility. There are 2 options, like I mentioned earlier. One is the standard social responsibility module, which is applicable to all facilities which do not elect or opt for enhanced social module. And enhanced social module is an optional social compliance audit, which helps producers or facilities further improve working conditions and get recognitions for doing so. Sometimes the endorsers or customers or clients of such facilities might require them to have this enhanced social module. And the standard is designed in a way that the enhanced social module is in alignment with the SSCI, which is Sustainable Supply Chain Initiative benchmark. And the audit is conducted as an unannounced audit. Anytime a facility opts for enhanced social module, the audit automatically will be unannounced. And these audits are conducted by APSCA certified social compliance auditors who accompany the lead auditor or the technical auditor. And the audit is conducted in no less than 1.5 audit days, providing the auditor enough time to visit all the areas of the facility, review relevant information related to the social accountability, and also undertake necessary interviews. And also under the enhanced social module, the auditor requires overnight audits if the facility operates outside of standard business hours, which means if they have second shift or third shift operations, the auditor would also undertake audits, the overnight audits. Those are the modules. Not gone into the other modules.
Thank you, Murali. Now we will talk about Prism. Earlier this year, GSA launched Prism, our new online platform where the certification process will be managed. Currently, Prism is being used just for SPS 6.0 certifications, but we will begin migrating other standards into Prism throughout the remainder of the year and into 2026. While not only a platform for the certification process, Prism combines audit and traceability data for a single source of assurance and monitoring capabilities. The other benefit of Prism is that it is available to not just producers, but also endorsers. Now that we have kind of talked about the background of Prism, we will do a demonstration of how to access the platform, how to sign up, and how to submit an application. To access Prism, you will need to go to bapcertification.org and click on Certification Prism in the top banner. Once you have clicked on here, you will scroll down until you see the option to either enter portal or enter Prism. We will want to click on Enter Prism. Once we have done that, we'll be prompted to either sign in or sign up. For this webinar, I'm going to click on Sign Up. The first step, you will need to enter in your email, and you will click Send Verification Code. You will then receive an email with the 6-digit verification code. Please note that this can take up to 10 minutes to receive, so we do ask that you kindly wait until 10 minutes have passed before you click on Send a New Code. I have copied the verification code from my email. I will paste it in here, and I will click on Verify Code. We can now see that my email address has been verified, and I can now continue with creating an account. I will then enter the password of my choice, followed by my first name, my last name, and then I will need to click on the box that says I agree to the terms and conditions, and then I can create an account. I have already created an account, so I will move on to that page and we can see what it looks like. Once you have signed up or signed in, you'll be redirected to this main dashboard page where you can see updates, but then overall metrics. But in order to submit an application, you will need to go to this Access page. By clicking on Access, you will see a list of all the certifications and facilities that you manage. Here you can see the various list of test facilities that I have created. To add a facility, you will need to click on New Facility. Here you will then be prompted to choose either previously certified or first-time certification. If your facility has previously certified, you will need to provide your GSA number for that facility and a separate verification code. This verification code will be provided to you by your certification specialist and is not the same code as the one that you used when creating your Prism account. For the webinar, we will be going for first-time certification. After clicking first-time certification, you will click Add Facility. This will then open up a new window where you'll be prompted to enter in information relative to the facility. I have already done this on this web page, so I will show you what it looks like when it's all filled out. Here we can see the facility details I have already entered, such as the facility name, any license numbers that are associated with the facility, the type of the facility, as well as the facility email. You also can enter in the website if you have one. We click on Next. We will then enter in information relative to the facility's location. So here I've put the complete address, uploaded facility address documentation, provided the GPS coordinates, and confirmed that the location on the map is correct. Once I click Next, I will then provide information about the facility layout in square meters. I was then prompted to upload a facility map that includes information about the production area, mechanical area, warehouse, office, and any location of effluent sampling stations. Next, I was prompted to enter any information about the facility billing. So this information will copy over from the details section, but if your billing information is different, you can change it. You can also opt in to have an additional email be included on any invoice-related matters. Lastly, I will then be asked to review all the information that I have previously filled out, and then also choose which markets motivate me to get BAP certified. Once I have done all of this, I will click Add Facility. Once I have added a facility, I'll be redirected to the facility's individual dashboard, where you can see we can start an application. We can also see that after this facility is certified, we'll see the list of the certifications associated with this facility. Here, we're going to click Start an Application. Similar to setting up the account, I have already done this in a separate window. The application process is very similar to the past, where you have specific questions that you have to answer related to the facility and are broken down based in sections. So the first one, we will choose the standard that is associated with our plant. Currently, we only have SPS 6.0, so that one is the only thing we can choose. We then agree to the certification agreement, which if you click here, you can also view it and download it. Clicking Next, we then add the product statement for these facilities, including all the species that your facility processes. Once you have added all of the species by clicking Species Plus, you will then click Species Completed. You will then click Next, and you will answer process-specific questions related to your facility. You can see here that I have filled all of these out. By completing these questions and clicking Next, it will tell me which modules are applicable to my facility. In this case, it is Core, Product Identity Preservation, Effluent Discharge, and Social Responsibility. Clicking Next, I will then be prompted to enter in additional audit information, such as day of contact information, other certifications my facility holds, our preferred CB, and the facility layout information is pulled over from the facility account. Clicking Next, I will be given the option to enter additional audit instructions, such as whether my plant has seasonal production or not, or any special instructions the auditor may need to know. Next, I will enter workforce details, such as the total number of employees, whether we lease or source any workers, whether we provide any on-site housing, and whether we perform second or third shifts. Lastly, we'll be given the opportunity to review all of the information that we have just entered. In reviewing the information, if there's anything that you see that is incorrect, you can simply click the back button to go back to that section. If we find that all the information that we have entered is correct and is accurate, we will click Submit. It'll say, are we sure we want to submit? And we will click yes. We will click Submit in this case. It is saying that our application is being processed and that it has been successfully submitted. Here you can now see that we have an application that is in review. And then once it's been reviewed and it is with the auditor, we will then see progress in the audit bar, and then after that in the certification. If you have any questions on how to set up your account or the application, please feel free to reach out to your certification specialist or your market development representative for some help. In addition to the use of Prism, SPS 6.0 is introducing the Audit Duration Calculator. The Audit Duration Calculator, or ADC for short, is a new tool that is used to calculate the audit duration for a facility based on modules selected, facility demographics, and various other factors. The ADC will need to be completed as part of the certification process and will be made available to you via your initiation emails or the certification landing page. You will be required to complete and return the ADC to your certification specialist within a month of the initiation email. We do understand that this is a new part of the certification process, so please email your specialist or your market development representative with any questions you may have. Now, I will quickly demonstrate where to find the audit duration calculator and how to fill it out. To find the audit duration calculator, you will need to go to bapcertification.org and click on Certification-Prism. If you scroll down on this page, you will see within the Prism section the opportunity to click on Seafood Processing Standard Issue 6.0 Audit Duration Calculator. Clicking on this will open a new tab where you can download the audit duration calculator. I have already downloaded the calculator and filled it out, so I will now pull it into the presentation so you can see. Here is an example of what the audit duration calculator looks like when it has been completed. The audit duration calculator is broken down into 4 tabs: facility details, finished product testing, outsourcing, and duration calculator. You will be required to fill out each of these tabs in order for the calculator to be considered completed. In the facility details, you just enter your GSA number, your facility name, and the address of the processing plant. In finished product testing, you will answer these 5 questions that will determine whether your plant needs to do the finished product testing module or not. The outsourcing tab will have questions just simply related to outsourcing, and again will determine whether you need to include the outsourcing module in your audit. The last tab of the calculator includes multiple questions related to modules, facility details, food safety details, social related questions, certification, outsourcing, pre-processing, and supplier addendums. Once you have filled out all the questions on the duration calculator tab, you will then see at the top the estimated number of days for your SPS audit. Here you can see that based on the questions that I've answered, it is expected that my audit will take 3 days. Please note that if you opt into the Enhanced Social module, you will also see additional days and hours for the ESM auditor that will also need to attend the audit. Again, we understand that this is a new process to certification, so if you have any questions or concerns about this, please do email your specialist or market development representative. As mentioned in our webinar last year, SPS 6.0 will require that all product within your facility is included in the audit. Previously, audit scope was based off what the facility was applying to certify, whether that was farm-raised or wild. Moving forward, the facility will be audited to all production regardless of whether it is farmed, wild caught, primary processed, or secondary processed. The reason for this change is that only auditing a portion of the production is an integrity risk as well as an area of concern with GFSI benchmarking. Again, we understand that this is a change, so if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email us on this. Now, moving on to reprocessors. With SPS 5.1, facilities were required to be designated as either a primary processor or a secondary processor, also known as reprocessor. Moving forward with SPS 6.0, all facilities will be considered seafood processing plants and will be given a GSA number beginning with P. Existing reprocessors will be provided a transition plan to phase out their RP number. You will receive an email from your certification specialist with this new number, and GSA will allow any packaging that has the old RP number to be used until January 1st, 2027. The reason for this change is that often facilities conduct both primary and secondary processing, and they are audited to the same standard. This also coincides with the audit scope changes. Star status links. Previously, producers were required to link the processing plants to the farm and the farm to the hatchery and/or feed mill within the BAP portal. Starting with SPS 6.0, the highest star capability per species will be determined based on the highest star of the processed volume for each species during the audit. The star status links are now verified at the time of the audit as a part of the product identity preservation module that Murali spoke about earlier. The process of star status links is changing because having this information verified during the audit adds an extra layer of credibility to the data and gives a more complete picture of relative star status of the product processed. Star status will continue to be displayed on the producer's page. That part is not changing. Lastly, I would like to give an update on our current standing for GFSI benchmarking for SPS 6.0. Currently, GSA is in process of getting GFSI benchmarking for SPS 6.0, but until we achieve benchmarking, we will be offering SPS 5.1 certificates to be extended so that way you may continue to have a GFSI benchmark certificate. In order to get the extension, you will need to complete a certification extension acknowledgement form that will be provided to you at the time of your initiation by your certification specialist. We do ask that this form be completed and returned to us before the audit information is sent to your CB so that they are aptly prepared. Thank you for taking the time to join us for this webinar. We will now begin the live Q&A.
All right, thank you everybody for listening in on the webinar, and thank you for all of those who have put in questions so far. I'm going to ask that Molly, Murali, Dustin, and Elise join us for the live Q&A portion. All right, thank you everyone. So I thank you again also for entering in all your questions. The first question I see says, hello, my question is the enhanced social module required for, or can we choose between normal social and enhanced social module? So the answer to that is yes, you can choose which one that you want to opt into. The enhanced social module is not required. If you need a social compliance audit, we do suggest that you choose ESM, but it is not required for you to choose. So I hope that answers your question. The next one that I see is, how would I know which risk category I am for the finished product testing module? Murali, can I ask you to answer that?
Yeah, so there is a document known as Annex 1, the operational guidance for finished product testing module. So when a facility goes into that module, and not a module, but an operational guidance document, they can clearly answer some basic questions and then understand what their risk status is. And even the auditor would do that, the CB would do that, and that's how they would know whether what the risk is for the finished product testing module.
All right, thank you, Murali. The next question is, as we begin implementing and introducing Standard 6.0 in our facility, which has already been certified in previous years, does the count of the 2 announced audits start over, or does the existing audit cycle continue? So with the implementation of SPS 6.0, the existing audit cycle does continue by having 2 announced audits and then an unannounced. So please keep that in mind when you are preparing for your 6.0 audit. If you are in the process of a 5.1 right now, please feel free to reach out to your certification specialist with any questions about possibly changing your 5.1 to unannounced. Next question. 1 second, please. My question is, the enhanced social module has to be audited with SPS Core, or can it be audited separately as it is an unannounced audit? Murali, do you want to take this one too?
Yeah, it will be audited with SPS Core, and the entire audit will be considered as unannounced.
All right. Thank you, Murali. Going through the questions, is there a minimum number of modules that I will be required to do? Murali, I'm going to give this one back to you.
Yeah, no problem. So Noel went through the application process in the Prism. You would be answering a few questions, and then based on that, and also based on what processes a facility undertakes, you would end up selecting those modules. It's not that there is a specific minimum number of modules that a facility need to take. It all depends on the operations and processes at the facility.
All right. Thank you, Murali. Sorry, just looking through all the questions. Thank you for everybody who has entered those so far. Somebody said, can you elaborate more about the Start Links update? So what for that is that I'm not really sure exactly what you want me to elaborate on. And Molly, please feel free to jump in at any point. But star status will be determined based on what is audited what is observed during the audit and what is again captured during the audit. So you will then, it's very similar to times past, you will fill out your actually, I am going to hand this over to Molly. Molly might be able to explain this a little bit more than I can.
No, and no problem. So there obviously will be the mechanism to create those links will be for 6.0 part of that audit process. The way that you will be able to share those links will be changing. And that will come also with our updates that will be with our updated producer page coming very soon. So we will provide some more information around how you'll be able to share those links. But that will be part of the audit process, and we will follow up. And we can also follow up after this call one-on-one.
All right. Thanks, Molly, for jumping in. I really appreciate it. Another question. You mentioned that data will be available to member organizations. Can you provide examples on the data that will be shared? How will commercially sensitive and proprietary information collected during the audit be protected? So again, Molly, if you want to answer this, Dustin, please feel free to jump in.
Sure. And again, we can follow up separately to give you a little bit more information around how the platform will work. But all of our audits are digitized. And so the new platform will allow you to share your audit reports with your clients within the platform. So that's just something that will be offered here in Prism. We can certainly talk about how that would be shared and what that would look like, but it will be permissions based. So it would not be shared unless you were approving that. But we'd be happy to set up meetings to show you how that will work and how your data would be protected.
Thank you, Molly. The next question, does SPS 6.0 consider number of HACCP study for calculating the audit mandate? Murali, can you jump in and answer this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it does consider a number of HACCP plans, and that's one of the elements in the ADC or audit duration calculator.
All right, thank you. Sorry, just scrolling through the questions that we have. Which of the modules are GFSI benchmarked? So again, back to you, Murali.
Yeah, the core and almost all the modules are GFSI benchmarked, except for the standard social, which does not fall under the purview of GFSI, and also the ESM enhanced social module, which falls under the purview of SSCI, and which is not GFSI. Other than that, all the other modules fall under the GFSI scope. Animal welfare might not be, but I can confirm that at a later date. But other than that, most of the other modules fall under GFSI.
All right, awesome. Next question, is a Prism account required for all certification applications or only SPS? So at this time, you only need a Prism account if you are applying for SPS. But as I mentioned during the webinar, we will start transitioning more of our standards into Prism. The next one that will be moving into Prism is Feed Mill 3.3. So if you manage your whole supply chain, if you have, your SPS certified, but also your farm, hatchery, feed mill, you will not have to create an additional account. But that being said, when we start moving the other standards in, we will be requiring everybody to create a Prism account. Next question. Can I add additional people to my facility account in Prism? Dustin, can I ask you to answer this one?
Yeah, the short answer is yes, you can. We have facility roles that allow you to provide access to other members of your facility.
All right, thank you. Somebody asked, if the facility processes farm and wild catch species, can they exempt for the wild caught under SPS 6.0? So because SPS 6.0 is requiring that the audit scope encompasses all that is being processed at the facility, no, they cannot exempt the wild caught under SPS 6.0. Marali, can you confirm that this is correct?
Yeah, it's correct, Noel. You did touch upon that, and I think we did mention during the previous slides, there is no exemption. All products and all facilities within the location or site are part of the scope of the certification.
All right, thank you. Somebody else asked, what are the basic differences between SPS 5.1 and 6.0? So again, Marali, can you at a very quick high level give the big differences between SPS 5.1 and 6.0?
Yeah, that's a tough one, though it's a simple one. The most important is the modular approach, which will streamline the way audits are conducted and the way certification process is managed. Because I've been an auditor for the last 20 years, and I know going into a facility auditing a standard which all requirements are not applicable, and then I go ask a question, I said, oh, this is not applicable, and things like that. Instead of that, now before an auditor goes into a facility for audit, they already know which modules apply, so they don't need to tick off a bunch of not applicable requirements in the standard. So that's a huge benefit for the facility, for the auditor, and the certification body.
Thank you, Marali. Next question. Should I make a Prism and portal account on the website? So if you have, if you are in charge of BAP certification for farms or hatcheries, you will need to maintain your portal account. But as I mentioned, all standards are eventually moving into Prism. So we do suggest that at this time, even if you don't have a processing plant, that you create a Prism account. So that way, when we do move those standards in, you are ready for that change. Next question. Can the BAP Enhanced Social Audit replace other social audits such as SEDEX or SMETA? I'm going to give this to Molly or Murali to answer this.
Sure. So what we would say is that we would guide you to engage your customer on this. As Noelle had noted in the presentation, our enhanced social module would be a social compliance audit. So as you engage your client, you would want to ask them that question if they will accept our social compliance audit, the ESM, as part of the seafood processing standard audit. But they would be similar in that way. So we would engage, we'd be happy to support those discussions with you and your client, but that hopefully answers your question.
Just to add to that, Molly, the enhanced social will be benchmarked soon. So that way it will be an equivalent social certification program. So.
All right. Thank you, Murali. Thank you, Molly. The next question, in SPS 6.0, the standard is modular. How would we decide which modules apply to our facility? For example, if we only handle frozen raw products. So we have received a few questions in the chat related to this, like how do I know which modules will be applicable to my facility? Within the application, there are a series of questions that you have to answer. And based on those answers, it will then determine the modules that are most appropriate for your facility. For example, we ask, do you do low acid canning? If you don't, then that module will not be applicable to you. In the application, once you have answered all of those, you will see the modules that have been selected for you. If at that point in the list of modules, you maybe don't agree with one that has been selected for you, please reach out to us and we will happily discuss that with you. So then the next question is, will a Prism account be enough for SPS farm feed mill? The answer is yes. So right now it's just SPS. Feed mill will be moving into Prism by the end of the year. Farm and hatchery, we have not announced that date yet, but please keep an eye on your email for any communications from us related to those dates. All right. So enhanced social responsibility isn't mandatory to get the BAP certificate then. No, enhanced social responsibility is entirely optional. You do not have to opt into this module to get the BAP certificate. The regular social responsibility is part of our pillar. The enhanced is not required. Molly, do you want to add anything to that?
I think you covered it, but the point is you have to choose one or the other. So you will either have the baseline social module, or you can opt in for the enhanced social module, which would be your social compliance audit.
Thanks, Molly. Next question. If I get an extension for SPS 5.1, does that extension end when SPS 6.0 becomes GFSI benchmarked? Murali, do you feel like you could answer that?
Yeah, I suppose that's how it will be working, but we do have a document which gives guidelines on how the extension work. Probably the CB will have a better handle on these extensions because they are the ones who provide the extensions. Yeah, once 6.0 is benchmarked, then the extensions would drop off.
Thank you. Someone else asked, will we receive a separate audit report for the enhanced social audit? Murali, can you answer that again, please?
Yes, I don't think it will be a kind of a separate report, but it will be part of the report of the audit. But then the requirements in enhanced social are different than those within the standard social module. So that's the reason all those, how do I say, the the requirements which are in excess or extra to that of social model will be captured in that report. Yeah.
Thank you, Murali. Somebody else asked, if I add another BAP certified farm as part of my supply chain after my audit has been completed, will the STAR status be updated to show this? Molly, do you feel comfortable answering this?
Yes. So as it relates to 6.0 and those linkages and the addition of links after the audit process, you are able to add links after that time. However, if that link won't be verified unless you have a supplemental audit for that scope extension or that addition of the link. So it would, in terms of STAR status, if you were a plant that did not have any links to farms and you completed your audit process, and then in 2 months you added some certified farms that you were connected to, they would not be verified unless you were to undergo that extension of scope for that STAR status, which would require you to go through that product identity preservation module supplemental audit. So your STAR status would stay the same as it was for the audit unless you were increasing and you had an additional audit.
All right, thank you, Molly. Somebody else asked, what is the effective date for using your Prism account? Well, SPS 6.0 is required as of today. So if you are applying for SPS 6.0, you could consider today the effective date for using your Prism account. But again, this is just for SPS 6.0. Once other standards move in, we will notify you and let you know when it is mandatory for you to use. Okay. We are having a social audit this year. Do we need to apply next year again? Murali, could you answer this, please?
Not sure what they mean by social audit, because the standard social is mandatory along the core every year. And then the enhanced is like Noel and Molly explained, it's an optional, but if you have to change from standard to enhanced, yes, you could change that during the next audit. But social audit is, the standard social is a mandatory part of every audit.
All right, thank you, Murali. Somebody else said there was nothing on the demo regarding Prism for traceability. So because we were using test data, we can't kind of fully show the full traceability part of Prism. But Molly, do you want to kind of speak a little bit on that, on traceability and visibility for endorsers?
Sure, just traceability in general. We can certainly set up a separate call to walk through how the platform would work and how we would be able to visualize digital traceability for you if you're using a platform. So we can certainly do that. But the platform itself will be capable of taking traceability data in and visualizing that in the platform. So we'll be happy to set up a separate call to talk a little bit more about that.
Thanks, Molly. The one other question, when will I be told my new P number? As I mentioned in the webinar, you will be told your new P number during your initiation emails from your certification specialist. If you would like to know this number ahead of time, please feel free to reach out to us at certification@globalseafood.org, and we will happily tell you your new number. One more question. We already have a processing plan, but we are new to BAP certification. If we want to get certification for frozen fillet, we just need to sign up via Prism, and the GSA team will support us until we get the certification. So GSA, your certification. When you sign up for BAP certification, you will be assigned a certification specialist who is there to support you throughout the certification process. We also have our market development team where we can also support you that way. So if you sign up for through Prism and submit your application, we can then begin assisting you with any questions you have or the certification process. And I guess I should say that even if you're not BAP certified or haven't submitted an application, you can still send us an email and we will very happily assist you with any questions you have.
And just to add to that, when they say supporting us, Noel, it's just to the limitation of interpreting the standards or guidance on the entire process of certification. That's it. Because we cannot consult, and that's against the benchmark requirements.
Thank you, Murali. That is a very good call out. All right, I am not seeing any other questions at this time. Oh, sorry, just saw another one. Are the RP or P number will be updated and changed after BAP Standard 6.0? So with SPS 6.0, we are transitioning solely to P numbers. So anybody who has an RP right now will get that new P number. Anybody who has a P number right now, your number will stay the same. And that will be consistent from now on for the rest of time. So RP numbers we will be phasing those out. You still can use them on any packaging until January 1st, 2027. But starting with 6.0, we will only have P numbers for seafood processing. All right, I am not seeing any other questions at this time unless anybody has a last minute one. Give you a few moments to type. All right, well, Does SPS 6.0 require social responsibility audits for all plants? So with SPS 6.0, similar to SPS 5.1, social was always incorporated into the audit itself. It is one of the pillars for our certification. SPS 6.0, we just call out social responsibility as it is within the standard, but then also enhanced social responsibility. If you have any specific questions on the enhanced social, please feel free to reach out to us. All right, so I am not seeing any other questions. If you submitted a question and we were unable to answer it, we will do our best to reach out to you and email you an answer. If you want to set up a meeting with us to ask some more questions, have more of an in-depth conversation around SPS 6.0 or Prism, please feel free to email your certification specialist or your market development representative. We thank you for joining us for this webinar. As a reminder, everybody who is registered and attended will get a recording of this afterwards. If you do not receive that within a few days, please reach out and we can assist you there. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us and have a wonderful day.